Welcome to Just Break Up, the podcast about love, heartbreak, and all the relationship advice you don't want to hear. My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we're going to answer a letter from somebody who's wondering if he can forgive his fiancé who broke things off to explore her sexuality. But before we begin, we just want to give you our Surgeon General's warning, which is that Sierra and I are not licensed mental health practitioners.
No, we are not. We are not professionals. We are not trained in any of this. So please take our advice as you see fit. We're only here to offer our humble musings to hopefully shed some understanding and maybe some laughs about the incredibly rewarding, but mostly confusing experience that is love.
All right. So today's check-in topic comes from us making some funny jokes with each other that we wanted to share with you. It's mostly because we have been reading about particular relationships online.
Inspired by online chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we wanted to play a game about some of the things that we've been learning. And this game is called Perfect in Every Way. And I don't know if this is like a Peter invention or if it's like something that he found on the internet and that he's passing off as his own, which is something that happens sometimes. Which I love him for.
I'm Googling it.
Yeah. But Perfect in Every Way is this.
He did not invent it.
Okay, great. Perfect in Every Way is this game where you say, it's kind of like, this was on the internet for a while where it's like, he's a 10, but. So it's like perfect in every way, this potential partner, but, and then there's like some sort of like devastating thing afterwards. And you have to decide whether or not you would like to date that person regardless of that thing.
And the more erratic, the better is Peter's style.
Absolutely. You know? And the way that Peter plays it is that he will keep adding different things to it until you say no. So if you were like, perfect in every way, but they're a worm, you'd be like, okay, yeah, fine, I think I could deal with that. And you'd be like, but they're a worm on a hook inside of a fish, right? Like it just like keeps escalating until you say no.
My favorite is perfect in every way, but they sweat jelly.
No, that's a no for me.
Yeah, I don't know.
It would be like
already pretty gross.
You know how like toddlers' hands are sticky all the time? Like that's what it would be like.
Always sticky.
And it's like, why? What have you been touching? I don't.
Yeah, but at least you would know they had been just touching themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. They've just been sweating. I'm like, my palms are like kind of sweaty right now, and I'm thinking about whether or not they'd be coated in jelly.
Yeah. Perfect in every way, but the only movie they'll ever watch is Castaway.
Sure. Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. Yeah, I don't really care. see what I mean? Like other people will be like, no. Anyway, so we're marrying this game with just internet relationship chaos that we've been seeing lately. And that has inspired a lot of conversation between Sam and I. So I'll kick it off. Perfect in every way, but they over-tighten all of the jars in your house, so much so that you can't open them without them being present. And you're convinced that they're doing it on purpose.
We're adding another layer. Okay.
Despite years of them claiming that they're not doing it on purpose and years of you asking them to not tighten the jars so damn tight.
Yeah.
This is inspired by a Reddit post.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I would just get one of those like those slack wrenches thingies and just use that and it would be fine. Yeah.
So you would be fine with that.
Absolutely.
Even though what if it was true? So the backstory is this is a Reddit post about a woman who's like, I'm going to divorce my husband of 5 years because he over tightens all the jars and I can't open anything without him. And I'm convinced he's doing it on purpose.
To make me feel weak or whatever.
Well, literally, that is a modern take of the origins of gaslighting. Like doing
absolutely.
Tiny things to make somebody feel insane.
Absolutely.
So,
like literally the definition of gaslighting.
Yeah.
Like doing that and pretending like it's not happening.
The Reddit poster, I think... Yeah, I don't know. Perfect in every way. So says the Reddit poster. Said that they have great communication, great sex, great partnership, except for this one thing.
Well, here's the thing. Perfect in every way. So he would just make me food all the time. I wouldn't have to touch the jars, you know? I would just be like, okay, honey, make me dinner. And they'd be like...
I think I would need to... It would need to be... Yeah. I would say no. I would stay with them. Perfect in every single way.
Yeah, except for the jar
I
thing.
can't open jars around them. That is essentially like every other day at my house with my wife. I'm always like, here, I'm so weak. And my wife is like, okay, I will get this pan down from a shelf that is easily accessible to you. Anyway. Okay, what's the next one?
Okay, the next one is, this one is a little weird, but perfect in every way. But you find out that they've been cheating on you through like a internet-wide campaign to find this man after he's kissing some sort of person in an airplane.
This is a no for me.
Yeah, this one's definitely an easy no.
But so the background is, this is chaotic check-in topic and I'm into it. The background is there's like this huge thing blowing up on TikTok about a woman who recorded and outed a husband like cheating on his wife. And she basically was like, if this is your husband, he's on this flight and he's making out with this girl and he's drunk, da 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 da. And the internet went wild and they know his name and like where he works, and his Facebook and LinkedIn went dark, and his wife's Facebook went they basically doxed him.
Uh-huh. And
that's how this woman found out that he was cheating on her. I don't know, perfect in every way, but globally humiliates you. And is unfaithful. No. That's going to be a no for me because then they're just like...
What about perfect in every way, but they're the person who outed that man in the internet and set off a chain of events that then created this maelstrom of chaos around this couple?
Well, I would say that would probably be okay with me, although I am not a huge fan of like the internet. Period. No, I'm not a huge fan of this realm in which, or like, are we dating the same guy sort of threads.
Yep.
But I feel torn about them because like we're using the tools we have to dismantle the shitty behavior that we're receiving.
For sure.
I'm all about that. But it feels a little complicated to me, but perfect in every other way. I'd be like, okay, yeah, I would find my way to justify it because like technically my partner didn't trigger it. The shitty cheating behavior triggered it.
Yeah. And like the internet, the whole internet came on board too, which is like,
yeah,
because like I think there was a time, like I remember there was one sort of like TikTok series that was happening where this person was like, hey, if these are your friends, if you recognize any of these people and they're your friends and your name is Emily, they're talking shit about you behind your back. So like, just know that this is happening and I'm sorry that they're doing this to you. And then the person like found out, and then the person who posted it and the person that they were talking shit about became friends because they were like, cute. Oh, cool, my friend sucks. So like, can we be friends? And it like was very cute. I don't know if they're still
horrible,
together. Yeah, it's just like terrible.
One more variation of this one. Perfect in every way, but cheats on you on flights, but you never know. You never have the internet as the best friend. So in your mind, perfect in every other way.
It's cheating on flights only. Is that what you're telling me? Okay.
International, domestic, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, but they're doing it on flights.
Anytime that man's on a flight.
He's just like macking on the person next to him. I'm fine with that. I would rather live in ignorance.
You'll be like, honey, we're taking a train. We're taking a train.
But I wouldn't know, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, whatever. Okay. The final one is inspired by one of the most famous celebrity couples.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect in every way, but they're a mega celebrity.
Yeah.
And they force you to they force you, a very private person, to star in their self-funded, self-produced documentary about their own life. So basically, you get to date a celebrity, but like any privacy you want to have in your life is almost gone.
No, I don't think that I would want to. Like, part of me is like, yes, because sometimes I love attention. Yeah. But I also just know how invasive the press is when it comes to celebrity couples. And also, like, I'm kind of over the like celebrities self-funded documentaries about themselves. Like
I loved the first 7.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched that Brooke Shields one and was like, this is fascinating. But like once I watched the David Beckham one, I was like, what are we doing?
I loved the Beckham one, but you convinced me. You were like, it was like David Beckham propaganda, and I was like, abso-fucking-lutely, because all of a sudden this person I don't care about, I'm like crying over.
I think the story of David Beckham is probably pretty interesting. That documentary was just straight up like David Beckham did no wrong, and everyone in England
David
is
Beckham
absolutely
as David. The Beckhams as they see themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Which was like also the part where Posh Spice was like, yeah, we grew up middle class. Like, what are you talking about? And but David was like, what did your dad drive you to work in? And she was like, a Rolls Royce. And he was like, you're not working class, friend. You were never working class.
I loved it. I ate that propaganda up with a spoon, man. Anyway, this is all to say, so you would not date a celebrity, any celebrity, but particularly a celebrity that was like, I'm going to make a documentary about my life.
I would date a celebrity if they had shared values around our privacy. I would not date a celebrity who's like, I'm going to fund a propaganda film about my life.
This is going to be next week's check-in topic. I'm joking because it's not going to be, but next week we're going to talk about getting on the celebrity dating app and if you would do it. Yeah, I think I would.
Why would I not? I don't know. I mean, like in a world where I'm not monogamously coupled.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, then I would definitely be on it.
I think that old Sierra, younger Sierra, I should say, would date that person happily. Perfect in every way, and they want me to be on screen. Love it. Even more perfect. The older I get, and the more reclusive I get, and the more protective of my peace and privacy I get, and the more adverse I feel towards celebrity culture and the way like paparazzi and the media and the general public treat celebrities and make them so one-dimensional, like, and I'm a victim of it. Literally, we're fucking doing it right now. We're talking about Jennifer,
we're not celebrities, but
J-Lo
we're talking about J-Lo
Ben
and
Affleck.
Yeah.
I would not. I would probably pass, unfortunately.
No.
I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't. No, I would probably subject myself to it, and then
you absolutely would subject yourself
like
to
the
it.
entire state of Montana, and then hide there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's be real. I would do it. Okay, that was it. That was our chaotic check-in topic.
I hope you enjoyed it, friends.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into today's letter. So today's letter comes from Anonymous, whose pronouns are he, him, who is writing from the void. Hey there. I, a straight cis man, have recently been broken up with by my fiancé. She and I were together for 7 years and recently got engaged in the last 6 months. Shortly after the engagement, she admitted that she had feelings for and ultimately had fallen for her new friend who identifies as a gay woman. She, at no point up until the last few months of our relationship, realized or knew that she was bisexual and felt that she fell into it. She is really still struggling with her identity. We are no longer together, and she is pursuing a relationship with this person who she is in love with, but says that she is still in love with me too and needs to understand this side of herself before she can commit to being with me. I'm happy for her for discovering this part of herself, and we've always had lots of friends and hung out in circles with people who identify as gay, and I, of course, want her to be honest with herself. I know she must be struggling, and I can't begin to imagine what she's going through. The question is, if she does come back to me, how can I learn to forgive her and put this down to her discovering her sexuality, rather than feeling that I've been cheated on and had my heart broken? She says it is different because this would have never happened with a man, and that it's not about me, but more about her. But for me, the pain is the same as if she left me for a man. Should I wait for her? Should I not forgive her? Or should we ultimately just break up? Please send help to this heterosexual man trying to make sense of his life. Thanks.
Oh, my darling. Thank you so much for writing and for trusting us with this letter. I feel really honored to answer it and to help reassure you that it does feel the same as though you were left for a man, because it doesn't matter. Your pain is still real and valid and deserves to take up space in this relationship. I really do appreciate the love and care and support that you have for your ex. It is obvious in your letter. And I appreciate that. I think there are some people in the world that would just fall so deeply into hatred and maliciousness, you know? And so I really appreciate what seems to be your soul, right? Your essence, your love and support for this person. I appreciate that you're working so hard to understand and support her. And at the same time, I want to advocate for you that this sucks no matter what. It doesn't matter how good of an ally you are or how supportive of a boyfriend you are. Your fiance chose to end your engagement to explore a part of her, and she has every right to do that. And you have every right to make space for all the hurt and the pain and the betrayal that makes you feel. There's no perfect world in which only one of those things exists at the same time. You know, it is now and here where we're going to feel everything. We're going to let you feel everything. And hopefully we'll give you some advice on how to advocate for yourself, how to navigate this. And we'll even let you know what we would say to your ex if she wrote in about her lived experience, what advice we would give her. First, we're going to take a very quick break.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I echo everything that Sierra said before the break. And I think that this is one of those situations where we can talk about how we can hold our empathy with our accountability around this. You know, as a queer person who knows what it feels like to come out and like figure out your sexuality, and as just like a person who did a lot of shitty things to people in my 20s and beyond, right? Like I can have empathy for the idea that like that she's going through something, that this is really a challenging situation for her, that there's a lot of confusion and a lot of like, you know, not maliciousness on her part, but a lot of like, I don't know what to do. I'm just so confused about all this stuff. I've never felt this way before, right? Like I've never been in this situation before. I don't know how to handle it. Like, what are the rules? Like all of that is so deeply understandable. And we can also hold that empathy with some accountability in it, right? To say like, yeah, for sure, I understand that this was really challenging for you, and you're kind of stringing this person along, right? Like, you know, and the way that you're handling this is really putting a lot of pain into our letter writer's heart, right? And so, you know, I think that like one of the things that we also need to do when we're trying to create space for people's identities and for our understanding of them is to hold those identities as being important and reasons for things that are happening in their life, and also treat them as human beings who are capable of making good decisions. You know what I mean? Like treat them as like, yes, absolutely. I totally understand where all of this is coming from. And like, as a fellow human, I would expect you not to hurt me in this way. Right. Like, and I get to say these things to you, right? I get to be in my hurt because I know that you're a human being who has empathy and can understand that those things are happening. And so like, yes, it hurts the same way that it would hurt if she left you for a man, because at the end of the day, what happened is that she left you. Like, yeah. She left you for another person. And all of this is understandable. And I totally get that for her. She would have never thought that this could happen. She would have never done it if it were a man. But that doesn't change the fact that she still left you for a different person. And that's painful, right? Yeah. And she has every right to do that. And she has every right to explore her sexuality and all of these different things. But that doesn't negate the hurt that you feel because of the fact that she decided that she wants to pursue someone else and tell you at the same time that she loves you and wants you to wait for her to figure all of this out before she can come back to you. You know, like that's a hard thing to hear. And I don't think that it's a reasonable expectation of you to wait until all of this stuff gets figured out, right? Like I would be hurt by that. I totally understand why you're feeling the way that you're feeling about this. Yeah.
And again, like Sam said, if your ex wrote in and said, I don't know what to do. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm exploring. Sam and I would, of course, like you, dear letter writer, would be really proud of her, right? For exploring, she deserves to know herself deeply, right? And she deserves to, we all deserve to be in happy relationships. We deserve, we're never going to have the perfect track record of relationships in our life. People break up, relationships end, engagements end, we make mistakes, we pick the wrong person. None of this is surprising to me. But I would tell her, hey, I'm so proud of you for wanting to know yourself, for exploring yourself. And I would tell her about a time in my life when I felt so confused and complicated about hurting someone that I felt like keeping them close to me was the kinder thing to do, because I didn't know what I could offer them. I needed to explore other things, but I knew I loved them. My love for them was so real, and that's all I was really basing my decisions around. But I would tell her that growing up, doing Just Break Up, reflecting for a decade on that decision, I now understand that was not the kind thing to do. It was the nice thing to do for my feelings. It was the nice thing to do to continue to have access to this person, to keep them close. To answer their text messages when they texted me felt like the nice thing to do, but it wasn't kind, because I strung that person on for years, and I made them feel like their life was on hold for years because I couldn't make a decision for both of us, the hard decision for both of us, to put some actual real space between me and him. And so if she wrote in, I would tell her lovingly, as a fucking queer person, as somebody who was like, yay, cool, I want you to explore yourself. I also want you to be happy and respectful to the relationships you have. So I would say that. And I also want to add, friend, we get hundreds of letters from people, particularly women who identify as bisexual, who are in happy heterosexual relationships, committed relationships. And they're like, I don't know how to validate this part of me that I've never been able to explore. But we give them the advice, and they find this on their own paths of, being a part of community, being out and proud as bisexual, knowing that has nothing that doesn't negate your identity if you're in a hetero presenting relationship. What I'm trying to say is there are ways to do this that aren't choosing to break off your relationship. And am I saying she made the wrong choice? No, because some relationships end, some things need to be explored in a particular way. What I'm trying to do is offer you the perspective that you don't need to just lay down and wait, that this could have been done differently. And I feel like your pain and your frustration is really valid in this situation. And truthfully, if she decides to come back, I too would have a really hard time just being cool with it. I think that how about this? She has every right to explore her identity, to end relationships. I believe in her right to do that. As much as it hurts you, I believe that was the right choice for her in that moment. And also, I don't think that I would reasonably come back from that if my 7-year-long relationship ended in that way. You're not being a bad ally. You're not being a bad boyfriend by being couldn't this have gone a different route? And if it couldn't, which sometimes is the way of humans, then I'm not sure there's a way for her to fit in your life while fitting all your pain in. Do you know what I mean? I'm also getting frustrated with her because I feel like she's doing what I did, humanizing her. She's doing what I did, which is making her needs so particular that your pain can't fit, that she can't be held accountable. It is like she left you for a man. It is that.
It is like that. No, absolutely. This idea of you're even asking this question of like, how do I look at this as she's discovering her sexuality rather than feeling that I've been cheated on and had my heart broken? And I want to say, like, you've been cheated on and you've had your heart broken. Like, regardless, right? She is exploring her sexuality. That is true. And also at the same time, you've been cheated on and had your heart broken. And the thing is that, like, if there's any hope of reconciliation, that both of those things need to be accepted as true and valid, right? Because what it seems like is happening is that she's like taking up all of this space with this new exploration of her identity and this new exploration of this new relationship, which again is not a bad thing, right? But that sort of idea of what's happening here is taking up so much space that she and even you can't see that also what's happening here is that she had an emotional affair with a new friend, right? And then broke off your relationship so that she could pursue a relationship with that new friend, and then told you to wait while she dates this new friend in case she decides she wants to come back to you. Like, this is like really hurtful behavior, right? Like, this is a really messy breakup that's happening here. And the fact that we're trying to say like, oh, it's all excusable because of what she's going through isn't going to help the situation, especially if you're looking to reconcile. If you're looking to reconcile, then she is going to have to acknowledge, and you're going to have to acknowledge for yourself, that this pain is real, that the way that she behaved was hurtful to you, regardless of all of the multitude of understandable reasons why it happened. And 3, she's going to have to take some accountability for the fact that, like, this was a really big blow to you and to your relationship. And I'm saying that because I want you to also see this in what you know is to be true, which is that both of these things are happening at the same time. She's exploring her sexuality, and good for her. Love that. And also, this is hurtful because your relationship is ending, right? You're being broken up with. Like, that's what's happening here. And you deserve to feel pain and anger and all of those different emotions that come with the breakup. And I love that you are still trying to hold that this person is doing this for a reason, right? Like, that you have empathy for their experience and their identity, because that's, I think, is the path to healing, right? Like, I know I've been hurt. I know that they were trying their best. And how do I move on from that, right? That feels like a recipe for being able to move into something different.
Yeah. And I always think about what you taught me, that everything has opportunity costs. Mm-hmm. Everything has opportunity costs. And that, I think, helped speak directly to, like, my selfish, chaotic Gemini bisexual brain. Because it puts she can't have it all. And I have empathy for her. And I have empathy for you, to our letter writer, like, in your desire to make this work. I am not even convinced, like, I'm not saying you're not going to end up together. I'm not saying that you are. I have no idea. I'm just thinking about it from the perspective of, if you want change in your life, something has to change, right? There are always opportunity costs if this is how she wants to explore her identity, if she wants to follow this person, who I'm sure is a wonderful person who deserves love and attention, then the opportunity cost is she can't have you waiting in the wings, right? Or there's got to be parameters and boundaries around how long you're willing to, like, allow her to be in this, quote, the way she's describing it, or the way you've described it to us, is though there's, like, this test period, you know what I mean? Where she's going to, like, try this on, see how it feels, and see if she wants, but what I had to learn in my own selfishness, in my own self-discovery, that was necessary. It was necessary. Like, my self-discovery was necessary. It led me to who I am today. And I hurt people along the way, but I would never not do it again. But what I learned is that there are always going to be costs, and you can't keep people on deck. It's just not the kind thing to do, It feels good to have access to them. It feels good to not cut them off. It feels so foreign and inhumane to be like, well, we can't talk right now to this person who I've loved for 7 years. But how does it feel to be like, on deck, like waiting. I don't know. I don't mean to sound so angry, and I'm not angry. I want our letter writer to know that like, he has agency in this. You have agency in this, and you deserve, after 7 years, I love your heart. I love that you're supporting your partner through this. And there are ways that she could have chosen to do this differently if she wanted to stay with you. And she didn't. And that's hard to say out loud.
It is. It is. So I guess all this to say, friend, that we have so much empathy for your partner, and we also have deep empathy for you. You know, we know that this is really hard for you to handle. You know, you're heartbroken, and that heartbreak is understandable, and it is something that needs attention, right? It is something that needs to take up space. It's something that needs to be seen and held and tended to. And we hope that from our conversation or from this advice, what you hear is that we love you, and we know that the hurt that you're going through is really real, and that the only way for this relationship to move forward in any way is for that hurt to take up as much space as the new and exciting understandings that your partner now has of herself. Mm-hmm. We hope that this helps.
That's it. Yeah, we really do. We love you very much, and we know this is really painful.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like more content from us, or if you would like to join us for our monthly office hours, you can always support us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month, you'll get an additional bonus weekly episode, as well as access to all of those office hours. That's patreon.com/justbreakuppod.
You can slide into our DMs, send us your favorite relationship memes, but most importantly, you can submit your questions about all matters of the heart at justbreakuppod.com, which is also where you can find our merchandise.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. This literally keeps our mics on and helps us reach more brokenhearted souls who need two random strangers giving them relationship advice.
Just Break Up is a production of Duvid Media, original music recording, editing, producing, all magical things by our good friend Spencer Worth Davis. Make sure to check out his podcast and music. And remember, loving someone and having empathy and support for them doesn't negate our ability to have our own feelings and our own needs. Two contradicting things can exist at the same time, and it's important not to smother our own emotions just to make space for the needs of others. And if all else fails,
just break up.